Friday, presented by Boost Mobile. It's the Bulldogs and the Gamecocks, winners of the last 6 SEC regular season titles and the last 5 SEC tournament titles. And they square off again tonight for first place in the league as we welcome you to Colonial Life Arena and the continuing honor of Pat Summitt and her impact on women's basketball, both on and off the court. Mississippi State and South Carolina, it's a top 10 showdown, both with aspirations of being in New Orleans for the Final Four. South Carolina atop the polls. They are the 4th different team to sit in that top spot already this year. Never in women's basketball history have we had 5 teams reach that peak. That is the kind of parity we are talking about around college basketball. As we welcome you courtside, Beth Mowins, Debbie Antonelli, and an entertaining affair in store tonight with a couple of teams, Debbie, that can score over 80 points a night.
Yeah, let's break it down, Beth. Look, these coaches tonight, they're not coaching effort. You can guarantee that these players are going to be in a stance, they're going to run the floor hard. They have shot-making ability at all 5 positions for both of them. This is going to be a well-played game.
And they are both itching for a fight because they have been blowing some folks out for the most part all year long. Top 5 in the country, both beating teams by 25 points or better. And they have both gotten out to dominant starts in the Southeastern Conference. And those two right there are a big reason why, Debbie. Not just the game prep, but the game adjustments as well.
That's right, Beth. They're not going to worry about whether their teams are going to defend and rebound. What they're worried about is taking uncontested shots, moving the ball, and this game goes down to the wire with a possession-for-possession opportunity to make sure you get your analytics right and you have all your prep and all your situation stuff. That's what both coaches spent their time on today. It is the micro part of the game that's going to be really fun to keep an eye on.
National attendance leaders, 5 years running, and they are over 10,000 strong tonight. Ready to make some noise. Mississippi State in the road maroon and white, garnet and black, and the white jerseys at home for Carolina.
Both these teams primarily man-to-man defense. They both play with tremendous ball pressure, one pass away denial. You're going to have to work to get an uncontested shot.
Kiki Herbert Harrigan for 3. The senior, as they go with 2 4-year players and 3 freshmen in the lineup tonight against the Mississippi State starting 5. Jessica Carter at 6'5", going to be a handful in the paint. Jordan Danbury, one of the top guards in the SEC. And on the run, one of those rookies, Bree Beal. Assists Ty Harris.
I'm spending time talking about uncontested shots, and Mississippi State doesn't get back in transition. You have got to get back and set your defense. No excuse there for Mississippi State.
Cook, Beal, and Boston are the newcomers as Danbury scores on the drive.
Yeah,
Dawn Staley today at Shoot-Around, Debbie, talked about this kind of atmosphere for those 3 freshmen. She is looking for them to get off to a good start.
Well, you would expect that they've been in some big games already, that they already have a win over Baylor, that they understand what it's like to play in an environment like this. They play like this in front of a house like this every night. This place is awesome. 5 years in a row they've led the nation in attendance.
Good box out weak side. Critical for Mississippi State to hang on the glass tonight with Carolina. Maya Taylor going to the left side. Boston is there to help out defensively, so Bibby will hit mid-range.
It is a great fill behind the penetration by Bibby, ready to catch and score.
Boston and Carter, a terrific matchup of the post players stepping away from the lane, and Ty Harris knocks it down. The lone holdover from that national championship team, along with Kiki. Holdovers.
Remember, Kiki Herbert Harrigan put her name in the portal, then took it out. Good thing for South Carolina. She's a tremendous senior with great experience, can rebound and can score.
Foul going to be called on Beal.
Now watch with the shot clock running down. This is when you know your team has some offensive maturity. It's a penetration to the paint. You draw two, and Bibby does a great job of catching on the elbow, filling behind that penetration.
She came all the way from the far opposite corner, Debbie, to find that space. Going to be an offensive foul called on Carter, setting the screen up high. The officials, are they going to allow this to be a physical game tonight or not?
Okay, so right now, no. All right, so now if you're a player and a coach, you better adjust to it because you need to see consistency out of the way they're calling the game. Or you want consistency is what you're hoping for. And we've got a veteran crew, so I would expect that.
Tana Napier, Cameron Inouye, Billy Smith. Harris and one.
What a terrific give and go and basket cut through contact with a great finish. It's just a great job by Harris to move without the ball. Espinoza Hunter is going to be taken advantage of on the defensive end if she doesn't jump to the ball.
Jemiah Mingo-Young whistled for the foul. Harris 5 points quickly here for Carolina.
Excuse me, I thought that was Espinoza Hunter, my fault.
Mingo-Young will take it herself off the mark. Down on the deck to get it, but then squirted to her left and out of bounds.
Both these teams, excellent offensive rebounding team. Both over 40% of their misses, they offensive rebound. Is good hustle right there by Mingo-Young to stay after it. So right now that you see that Mississippi State's playing off the bounce, trying to get penetration to the paint, and they are able to get by South Carolina's defense. They haven't been able to finish a lot of plays yet.
They'll show some pressure full court. A big part of their game is forcing turnovers. About a third of their scoring points off of takeaways. And they'll love to take a charge. In fact, they had 7 of them the other night against LSU. And Vic Schaefer told his club today at shoot-around, if we get 7 more tonight, I like our chances.
Yeah. Well, he was concerned about the number one thing was making sure they defensive rebound against a very physical offensive rebounding South Carolina team.
Danbury off the curl, has to back it up. Jackson, one of the top freshmen in the league, stripped by another one of the good freshmen. Beal with the push. Harris finds Cook. Filling a lane in transition and stepping out.
South Carolina doing a good job right now defending. Beal, who Dawn Staley will call her best defender, gets a steal the last time, gets a deflection this time down the floor. You got to play some D for Coach Staley.
2017 National Championship, which came at the expense of Mississippi State, as Bibby knocks down a 3 from right in front of the Carolina bench.
Wow, that was deep and that was contested.
Harris with the push. Kiki gets the kind home bounce.
If you give Ty Harris vision up the floor, she will pick you apart. She is so solid in their transition game. It's a great job by Kiki Herbert-Harrigan to run the lane.
Taylor attacking. Boston let her go and then snagged the rebound.
Look where Mississippi State is, Beth. They're at the help line. They're all the way with 2 feet in the paint on the weak side.
Danbury, nice cross to take it to the middle and then miss the layup.
Here comes Harris, unguarded, vision up the floor.
The kick out, Cook got a 3.
Too easy. That's too easy for South Carolina.
Gamecocks have assisted on all 6 of their baskets.
You got to cut hard on that backdoor cut.
Jackson, tough shot. altered by Boston. Cook will pull up in the paint. And it goes to Mississippi State.
Well, Mississippi State's poor shot selection is going to allow South Carolina runouts. Look at Ty Harris motoring in the middle. Options on both sides. Big stick by Cook.
Come one, come all, and prepare yourself for a trio of bold flavors from Taco Bell. A taco so melty, yet crunchy, for just $1 each. The $1 double...
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile. Switch now and get unlimited gigs for the whole family. The switch that gives you more. Terrific Pat Summitt t-shirts being worn by South Carolina. The We Back Pat on the back.
Very cool, right?
Yep, the color purple for Pat's battle, of course, with Alzheimer's. And Dawn Staley's mom, Estelle, who battled with dementia. She's got Estelle on the one boot and We Back Pat on the other one.
Well, this is an environment that I know Pat would be really proud of.
She would have loved it.
The job that Vic and Dawn have both done with their programs, how competitive they've become, and I know she would have loved competing against them.
We love seeing those teams at the top that, you know, had the dynasties for a long time. The Tennessees, the UConns, the Stanfords out west. And you talk to all those coaches, Debbie. Just as important to them was the growth of the game and the competition. They wanted to see other teams around them continue to get better and to challenge them and push them even higher.
You think Tara's happy that she got what she wished for?
I think she might be.
It's pretty good out there in the Pac-12.
It sure is. They have 4 teams that have a chance at the Final Four.
It's a great ATO by Vic Schaefer. They got the dribble drive and Harrod, and they got Jackson to the rim. This is a first touch for Boston. Gets a great seal and a great pass to the target hand.
7 baskets, 7 assists. Of course, don't forget, you can see the renewal of the Tennessee-UConn rivalry. That is the Thursday night showcase game coming up later this week on ESPN Thursday night. Bibby tried to step through, may have gotten away with a walk there. Shot was deflected by Victoria Saxton. Harris to the hole, one-handed. Timeout, State.
Absolutely. Vic Schaefer wants to know where is transition defense. Not one time has a guard got in front of Ty Harris, and she's to the rim.
Good morning.
More treatment.
We're going to try something different today.
We talked about shot selection. You're down 10. This is a tough 2 for Chloe Bibby, who's had the hot hand for them. And watch Harris. She gets to the middle of the floor. No one is in front of her. No contest. And she just finger rolls it at the front of the rim.
Danbury had it knocked loose from behind. Hot shooting to start for South Carolina. And look at the advantage on the break, 9-zip. They are all about rebound and run, and they have been able to do that at every turn so far. Jackson, the hesitation, the spin, and she draws the foul.
Rickea Jackson, a McDonald's All-American for Vic Schaefer. Long, athletic, and is a shot seeker. Off the bounce with that frame, she is a really tough check.
Part of this 6th-ranked recruiting class, the highest ever. She's their first McDonald's All-American. And boy, when you look at the numbers, Debbie, very similar to Victoria Vivian's freshman campaign at Mississippi State, the former All-American. That last foul was on Boston, her first. She's out of the lineup.
Well, part of Vic Schaefer's issue has been shot selection early. Now with the made free throws, they can set up their full court pressure. But their floor balance defensively has not been good.
They've got to figure out a way to slow down Carolina. Averaging 91 a game in SEC play. And in 4 of the 5 wins, Debbie, they've had over 20 points in first quarters. And another good start despite the turnover right there tonight. Well, hey, the big Monday matchup coming up later on ESPN on the men's side. Oklahoma and Baylor. The Bears, the new #1. And they've beaten the Sooners the last 3 meetings in 5 out of 6.
7 #1s on the men's side this year. And Baylor this week, #1.
4 different #1s on the women's side. Seems like there's upsets every week. Of course, UCLA, the last of the unbeatens on the women's side. They fell to USC over the weekend. And you know, Baylor's women, they're rooting for Mississippi State tonight. If South Carolina loses, Baylor would be a 5th potential top-ranked team.
Or Louisville.
Or the Louisville Cardinals in a good spot right now atop the ACC.
#1 in the RPI.
Baylor's #2 right now in the rankings in the AP.
They go to their dribble drive here at the top. That's not a very good shot, but it's a great offensive rebound.
And then they're called for the walk.
Jessica Carter on the offensive glass, replacing Big T, Tiara McCowan from last year, who was the SEC Player of the Year. She's not quite 6'7", but she is 6'5", and she can finish around the rim.
McCowan, a member of the All-WNBA rookie team this past summer. Big reason why they have 3 straight 30-win seasons. And a program that had back-to-back trips to the national championship game a few years ago. Officials are going to get together to talk about this one.
They're not calling travel, Beth. They've got a foul.
They're going to say there was a foul before the walk.
I think they got a foul on Jessica Carter right here.
And that is her 2nd.
I don't see the foul. That's clean. Where's the foul?
Maybe the body at the very end there?
No, not on #4. Did they get the foul right?
Vic Schaefer saying, what the heck happened? And you've got to be kidding me. He's out on the floor. The officials are trying to get him back on the sideline.
Well, if that's 2 on Carter, I'm going right at her.
And Carter stays in the game, gets the block shot right there. And now Vic's got to hustle to try and get her out here before they inbound this ball, and they will. Fortunate right there.
Tina Napier had the travel. Billy Smith had the foul on the baseline.
Offensive foul, a charge taken, the 2nd one of the quarter. Letitia Amihir.
Well, this is a lower the shoulder. This is a great job by Jackson to get in front in legal guarding position. And if you dip your shoulder.
Final minute of the quarter.
I don't think Vic Schaefer's jacket is going to stay on very much longer over there.
Danbury gets to the middle of the lane. She's got 4. And after some struggles early, Mississippi State settling down nicely.
Good job to probe, back it up, assess all options, come off a ball screen. Harris has had to dribble most of the shot clock.
And a foul going to be called on Morris, trying to block that with only 4 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yamaya Morris at 6'6". She basically gave Amihir a lane to the bucket. You got to stay between your player and the basket. But you know what? That's the one thing that Vic Schaefer does have is 15 fouls on his front line out of his 5 position to deal with the length and the size of South Carolina on the glass.
We've seen both coaches go to the bench early with their 6'4", 6'5" subs. They got a chance to chip away even more. Danbury, the kick out for 3 to Jackson. Gave up the layup right there.
I don't know about that decision.
And now South Carolina can knock one down to beat the buzzer.
A 5-point swing. It was the 2 points they gave up at the front of the rim, and the 3 in transition by Harris.
Find your rhythm.
Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN. Ty Harris, 10 points, 4 assists in that first quarter. They assisted on 8 of their 9 baskets and shot over 50%. Look at the fast break points right there, 12 zip for Carolina. And this was a big decision, Debbie, at the end of the quarter.
Give up 2 wide open at the rim. Then you're not in good defensive balance. You take a deep corner 3, it allows South Carolina to get out on break, and Ty Harris, whether she's leading the break or she's finishing, she's been terrific in their transition game with her decision making.
Chloe Bibby's 5 points leading the way for Mississippi State. Jessica Carter, their 6'5" big girl, in foul trouble with 2. She will stay on the sideline to start the quarter. $13 points, 10 rebounds a game, averaging a double-double on the season. She played the full 40 minutes in the LSU game over the weekend, so that is big for the Bulldogs. Morris, offensive stick back, got it. So there's her replacement in the paint for her first bucket.
Well, and Vic Schaefer goes with this dribble drive where he's got really good guards that can come in, and they're all good off the bounce. And if you can score, then you can set your defense, because you've done a pretty good job in the quarter court defensively, but the transition defense has not been good.
Harris will pull up. Whistle and a foul on the glass. That will go against Morris. So now both big girls have 2. Do we go to Promise Taylor now? A 6'5" sophomore also on the bench. Don't forget the Super Tuesday doubleheader tomorrow. Georgia and Kentucky at 7 on ESPN. And then Miami and Duke from Cameron Indoor at 9 Eastern. And it is, in fact, Promise Taylor who will come on, the third big now, to try and deal with Aaliyah Boston. And Boston will go right at her and score.
Aaliyah Boston has such a strong skill set, an incredible IQ to anchor the back of that defense. She runs the floor well, and she can finish.
6'5" freshman, originally from the Virgin Islands, went to high school in Massachusetts, was the #1 rated post prospect coming out this year.
South Carolina switching on that dribble drive action. Good take off the glass by Maya Taylor. She gets the switch on Lily Grissett and takes her to the bucket.
Terrific ball handler, the sophomore out of Olive Branch, Mississippi.
I would keep putting Promise Taylor in ball screening action and force her to have to guard Aaliyah Boston.
Well, here's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with Aaliyah Boston, who only debuted with a triple-double in her career opener. 3 times the Massachusetts Player of the Year and a McDonald's All-American. They have had a terrific run of bigs. Boston is the latest. Of course, Asia Wilson, the local product who helped lead them to the national championship. Now starring in the WNBA as well as for Team USA in the build-up towards the Olympics in Tokyo this summer, excuse me. Bibby, tough on the fade. Boston boards.
If I'm going to run that dribble drive, the first pass through the top of the floor, I'm going to make sure I reverse the ball. I'm not going to just go one time through the top. I'm going to make South Carolina guard that.
Oh, nice crossover to get to the baseline, and a blocking foul called. That will be on Taylor, her first.
Taylor is doing a great job of pinching from the weak side. Oh boy, that's a tough one to go against Mississippi State. She's outside the restricted area.
Yep.
The play starts outside the lower defensive box. Was she in legal guarding position? Vic Schaefer says yes. Billy Smith says no.
Third foul of the quarter on Mississippi State.
Block charge is such a tough call, right? It's the hardest one to make. I don't know about that one.
Looked like she was there on the spot. 7 points for Herbert Harrigan. Up to a 9-point lead. Jackson unable to dial it in here early. She's 1 for 5.
Matharu doing a good job of getting deflection from behind. You know, Rickea Jackson, she's coming around, turning the corner with her right hand, going right. She has the ability to elevate. That's a little short jump shot she's got to be able to put down. Because South Carolina is running off of everything. Makes, misses, they are pushing. And they're getting the outlet with Ty Harris coming up the floor.
Boston. And now Harris using a couple of ball screens. Harrigan. And so now all three of the bigs have 2 personals. Morris, Taylor, and Carter. You talked about the 15 fouls to give. Debbie, they're up to 6.
Well, they're going to use them. She gets off the contact. It's really tough for a big girl to make this play, as Boston was doing a great job of sealing in the rim, and that's a good job of Morris to get off the contact and try to get over there and help. She's just late doing it.
Excuse me, that was the 3rd foul on Morris, 2 for Carter and 1 for Promise Taylor, who comes back in. Well, at what point do you start thinking about getting Carter back out there, as the largest lead of the night is now extended 28-17?
I think you feel pretty good right now if you, with the ball in your hands, down 11. If you can score here, then each time you can have a good possession and set your defense, you got a better chance. And that's a great look for Jackson. So you run that dribble drive and pass through the top of the floor twice, and you get an open shot. That's why you got to reverse the ball. That's why coaches are always talking about reverse sides of the floor. It will break the defense down.
She's got 6. Jackson, Danbury, and Bibby would be your best shots at it right now for Mississippi State, but they are having all kinds of problems by the rim as Kiki Herbert Harrigan hits the 1,000-point mark for her career.
You got to have more defensive discipline right there than to commit that foul. Kiki Herbert Harrigan puts it on the deck, and she is going strong to the bucket. She's been terrific off the bounce tonight.
11 for her, 10 for Harris. And Kiki has now scored 9 straight points for the Gamecocks.
How about your 2 seniors for Dawn Staley in a big game, in a big game environment with so much on the line, showing up to play?
Zaria Wiggins off the bounce, gets it. Boston able to catch deep. Nice spin to the left hand.
Ty Harris waited for her to shape up. As soon as she ran to the front of the rim and turned around, Harris was ready to deliver.
5th assist for Ty. Second chance here for State. Wiggins strong to the right side of the lane.
That back-to-back baskets for Wiggins, using her quickness. And see, everything that Vic Schaefer is running is getting everyone going to the right hand. About 80% of the shots they've taken is coming off that left side of the floor to the right hand to get a shot.
Jackson with the rebound.
Jacket gone. Vic Schaefer. Didn't take him long. I thought he kept it on a little bit longer than I expected, actually.
Jackson and 1.
Good clear out. Great isolation. Exactly what Vic Schaefer was calling for in calling the set from the sideline. Look at Jackson, takes Bree Beal down to the paint. Uses that length, gets to that left shoulder. We've seen quite a bit of her skill set early, haven't we? The McDonald's All-American from Mississippi State.
Didn't get the start against LSU. Played only 28 minutes with a sore back that she was experiencing last week. But she's the second leading scorer amongst the newcomers in the Southeastern Conference this year. Held ball will stay at this end.
Good hustle play by Promise Taylor. Tie up Aaliyah Boston.
Andrea Espinoza-Hunter will check in.
Espinoza-Hunter is a terrific three-point shooter, one of their better three-point shooters for Mississippi State.
Had 8 threes in the SEC tournament championship game last year. Set the record.
Vic Schaefer was running a play for her. That's why he put her in the game, for that out-of-bounds play, for that very situation, and that's kind of what the game's going to be about.
Under 5 to go in the half. 33-25. Carolina at home.
You at the half.
Thanks, guys. South Carolina won that first quarter, but actually Mississippi State is winning the second quarter as they are looking for their second win over a #1 ranked team in school history. UConn in the Final Four a few years ago, the only other time that has happened. And South Carolina has put together one of the best resumes in college basketball. They have ascended to the #1 ranking, and right now in bracketology, a #1 seed.
Zone defense by South Carolina off the timeout. Look at Boston. Take that, you dribble drivers.
Well, I think Dawn Staley was getting sick and tired of seeing him drive right into the rim. They had hit 4 of their last 5 shots.
Yeah, it's a good change. They're 6 for 10 from the floor in the second quarter. And then you go inside to Boston. She is money.
That's why we're talking about her as the National Freshman of the Year contender, doing it at both ends of the floor. She's their overall scoring leader this year. Zaya Cook, another freshman, is their scoring leader in SEC play this year. Got a foul on Boston.
Here she goes right here, Beth. Over penetrate. You didn't recognize they were running a zone, maybe. And then Boston gets down the floor. She runs hard, and she runs rim to rim. She owns the middle of the floor.
And this is a major development now as she will sit with 2 fouls, and Mississippi State attacks the rim right away.
They only were in that zone for 1 possession for Dawn Staley off the timeout, and then they went back to their man-to-man. And Rickea Jackson is a tough check. We're talking about Boston as one of the top freshmen. Rickea Jackson has got great numbers for Mississippi State as well.
So both bigs in foul trouble here in the first half as Jackson, after a slow start, is now cranking it up. She's into double digits.
Danbury, one of the best on-ball pressure defenders. Here she is guarding Harris. They'll try to keep her in front. She opens up the floor to her. Good clear out by Dawn Staley. They run everybody to the strong side, and you get Harris going off the bounce on her right hand. I love it, Beth. It's just counter and counter again by both teams. And Wiggins off the bench. My goodness, that's 3 layups.
6 points as this time she goes to the left side. Wide open look, and perhaps for a reason for Lily Grissett, but that will stay with South Carolina.
Vic Schaefer has talked about how inexperienced, how young, and somewhat immature his team has been at times this season. Going to learn something about him tonight for sure.
Double team down on the block. Grissett able to come up with the loose ball and put it down.
That is all athleticism for Lily Grissett. Another offensive rebound for South Carolina. That's the one thing Vic Schaefer said, if we leave here and we lose on the offensive glass, it's the one thing. He said it a couple of times today at shoot-around.
7 second chance points as Wiggins gets a second chance.
Lily can rebound in traffic. This is out of a double team. She rebounds out of her area, keeps her footwork collected, powers back up to the rim.
Junior out of Durham, North Carolina.
She went to Dawn Staley and said she wanted to play on the perimeter. She wanted to be able to defend threes, and Coach Staley has used her in that role.
Big part of South Carolina's game. 4th best rebounding margin in the country at plus 13. Just plus 2 right now. Mississippi State able to hold their own there. The bigger issue so far has been the fast break points off of those defensive rebounds.
And Coach Staley now countering essentially with 3 point guards on the floor.
Harris, Henderson, and Cook all out there together. Henderson lost it.
Mingo Young did a great job of defending, 1 pass away, and that disrupted South Carolina's rhythm.
Mingo Young and a blocking foul. So we touched on it earlier, but the nice counter by Vic Schaefer. He takes his shooter off the floor. He takes Chloe Bibby out, and he gets more dribble drivers in. That's the 2nd foul now on the starting guard, Zia Cook. Both sides struggling to stop the penetration.
Well, neither one of these coaches want to play zone. I can tell you that right now. They don't like to. Dawn Staley showed 1 possession. Vic Schaefer does have it in his defensive bag. We saw it today at shoot-around. And he is, you know, he's considered the Secretary of Defense, right? He got that nickname when he was an assistant at Texas A&M for Gary Blair, when he helped Coach Blair and Texas A&M win a national championship.
Not a smart foul by Danbury out near midcourt. That's her first.
Victoria Saxton's all the way up the floor setting a screen to relieve some of that pressure. You got to let her know that screen is going to be there. Watch right here. Here's the screen. She bounces off the screen into Harris.
Both sides in the bonus.
I would argue that maybe that foul was on, should have been committed against Saxton, maybe? I don't know. I wouldn't want Harris at the free throw line.
No.
If I was on the other side, I'd be arguing.
That
Wrong shooter.
I'm sure that's what Vic was. Well, she appeared to be in place. And Danbury unfortunately bounced into Harris. Ty Harris having herself a first half so far. 14.6 assists. Jackson trying to step through to the left and got it.
That's a creative, crafty score. She went rim body ball when she pivoted back to the inside. I don't even know how she got that shot up.
Their made field goal chart, Debbie, has to be all inside the restricted area. I mean, they have just been peppering away at the rim.
Well, the only 3 they have is Chloe Bibby.
Harris. Second chance, no, and a foul.
If you can't keep the ball in front of you, you force rotation, and that's what's happening and allowing South Carolina to get to the glass. Same thing right here. Look at Jackson. I don't know how she gets that shot up. I thought that was a good defensive job by Lily Grissett, just better offense.
Grissett to the line. .72% on the season. Missed them both. 8 for 12 for Carolina at the line in the first half. Final minute and a half approaching. Danbury again on the bounce. She'll end up with it after it ping-ponged around and up and in.
Promise Taylor kept it alive. And Lily Grissett said she wants to be a big guard and guard the littles. Well, she better be able to keep Danbury in front, because Danbury saw that matchup and just took her to the basket.
7-point swing for Mississippi State since Boston checked out with the 2 fouls. Grissett off the bounce. Got it off the window.
Beautiful. To her offhand. Great take. Both teams very aggressive getting to the middle of the floor.
Mingo Young, again an opportunity in close.
Well, she does a great job of keeping Destiny Henderson on her hip.
Harris, the kick out. Henderson looking for three. No. And now, for all intents and purposes, the shot clock pretty much off. Only 4/10 difference.
I'm surprised Vic Schaefer didn't get a shooter back in for this possession, because he is coaching every possession. We saw him do it earlier with Espinoza Hunter. South Carolina staying in their man. They worked on this situation today at shoot-around.
Danbury drops it off inside. Taylor got it. Perfectly executed by Mississippi State, and the bucket at the buzzer. And Vic Schaefer is all kinds of fired up. Down 12 earlier in the quarter. They are down 1 at the break.
Ty Harris, whether she's leading the break or playing from behind. Jackson at the rim.
Now back to the ESPN studio with John, Rebecca, and Andy.
Beth, Deb, thank you so much. Welcome inside our college basketball studios for the E-Trade halftime report. In the words of Ron Burgundy, that escalated quickly. Mississippi State only down by one.
Day presented by Boost Mobile. An entertaining first half of play. 43-42 South Carolina, as Mississippi State went on a 17-8 run to close out the final 4.5 minutes after Aaliyah Boston sat with the 2 personal fouls. Beth Mowins, Debbie Antonelli. Both teams really doing a great job of attacking the rim in the first half.
And it's been fun, right? Punch, counter punch. We saw a little zone possession out of Dawn Staley. They're struggling to keep Mississippi State out of the paint. And this is why, because the dribble drive is working. Rakia Jackson, the rookie for Vic Schaefer, has done a nice job of finding ways to get 2 feet in the paint, off the bounce, and finish inside at the rim. And on the other side, I just quite simply would not let Ty Harris touch the ball. She's been too impactful. 5 for 8 from the floor. She's got 6 assists, only 1 turnover. That's an incredible ratio. She's responsible for about 22 of their 42 so far, because the ball's in her hands in transition.
Carolina owned the first, State owned the second. The fast break advantage certainly to South Carolina. Mississippi State has held its own on the glass, and the pivotal moment for sure, Aaliyah Boston picking up that second foul. Mississippi State outscored them by 9 without her on the floor. Both number 4s have returned, both bigs. Boston and Jessica Carter limited with the foul trouble in the first half.
They're trying to post up Bree Beal, a bigger guard on the smaller guards. There's a great dig in by Danbury.
Winner of this one takes over sole possession of the SEC lead. One or the other have been the regular season champs for the last 6 years running. And a turnover will give it back to South Carolina. Turnovers not really an issue for either side in that first half.
And if they have been turnovers, they're dead ball turnovers. So you heard Rebecca talking about how South Carolina's been able to run off makes and misses. Well, they're not running off steals.
Well, and you touched upon how shot selection is sometimes just as good as a turnover if it's poor enough.
You want to see 5 maroon jerseys on the defensive glass for Vic Schaefer here in the second half.
He said get in the lane and get in the frame. Harping on that throughout their shoot-around this morning. Danbury, the scoop up and in again,
wow.
Another dribble drive.
So quick, so crafty. When you're a smaller guard, you have to learn how to play underneath, between the elbows, and use the hips and shoulder game. She's done a terrific job of turning the corner.
They've erased a 12-point deficit. First lead of the night for the visitors. who are tied with Connecticut, 14 straight road wins, best in the NCAA. And of course, they came in here last year late and beat South Carolina to clinch the regular season title. And that's bad news for Vic Schaefer and company as Carter's picked up her third.
This is a nice job of switching sides of the floor, the little ball, little handoff.
Boston going right at her, trying to draw the fourth, and Carter with the swat. Danbury on the run, gets it the other way. What a play by Carter not to commit the foul. Vic's gonna ride with her right here. She'll stay in.
How about a little zone out of Mississippi State here? And that's what you want to do against the zone. Get it to one of your better three-point shooters. Cook in the corner.
Gets the triple to tie it up. Chloe Bibby, who was quiet in that first half. That's a couple of turnovers now for Mississippi State. Numbers for Carolina. Cook to Harris. Gets the roll.
That kind of speed right there, Mississippi State doesn't want to deal with. We just finished talking about not having live ball turnovers. That's why, because look how quickly South Carolina converts. Here's another one.
Carolina cranking up the defense, and then Bibby, after the giveaway, commits the foul.
That's not a bad foul. I say that's not a bad foul because you get to set your defense. Good job of playing inside out against the zone. And then 2-on-1, the numbers in South Carolina's favor.
Danbury will take a seat.
Just a couple of possessions of zone for Vic Schaefer. Back to the man-to-man. This is trouble right here. I think in the pinch, Boston is terrific for a big player. Instead of turning and facing the bucket, she passes it back out to South Carolina's Kiki Herbert Harrigan. I think when Boston gets a quality catch in the pinch on the elbow, you got to turn and face the bucket and look for that one strong dribble move to the hoop.
Oh, they missed her wide open. Beal underneath. Harris, and a reach-in foul will be called on Matharu. Her first.
That's a gamble by Matharu that did not pay off. Because as her player went away, she stayed to try to get involved and make a big play. You got to play solid defense right here if you're Vic Schaefer's team, and you don't want to get in the bonus too early.
Third foul of the quarter. Harris will inbound. Stellar tonight for the two seniors.
See, that's a
Cook.
risk.
Nice drop off to Boston.
No, that's not what you want to do. If you're Vic Schaefer's team right now, it's a high risk with a low reward. 7-0 run for the Gamecocks.
Taylor rejected by Kiki.
This is a tremendous play. Switch. She leaves the floor before Taylor leaves the floor and uses her length to get that block.
Second block of the night for Herbert Harrigan. Triple is good from Destiny Henderson, their top scorer, for Matharu, coming off the bench.
Back to the zone. You better find Cook if you're going to play the zone.
Weak side, Beal. No. Bibby clears.
Chloe Bibby needs to get herself involved in the offense here.
Jackson. No. Boston has it for South Carolina, her sixth rebound.
Look what a good job she does of two clear dribbles and then advances the ball up the floor.
Cook slashing to the rim, missed the layup. And then able to keep it alive.
Did she come from out of bounds to get that? I guess if your momentum takes you out of bounds, it's not like being pushed out of bounds. Can you be the next to touch it?
Blocking foul called on the Harris drive.
If you take yourself out of bounds, you cannot be the first to come back and touch. But if your momentum takes you out, I think you can. And her momentum took her out.
Second foul on Taylor, and already the fourth team foul on Mississippi State. The Gamecocks without a foul so far.
Ty Harris makes it all work. The senior, 4-year starter for Dawn Staley. All business too, Beth.
Out of Noblesville, Indiana. Second on their all-time assist list. She's got 6 more tonight to go with her 18 points.
She's the active SEC assist and steals leader. Oh, almost a steal.
Crossover into the lane. The floater is good. How about Aaliyah Matharu off the bench, the freshman with 5. Boston, put back.
She's got great hands. Good instincts around the glass.
A dozen points, 7 boards. Looking for 3 again, Matharu.
You go ahead, Matharu. You can shoot till your arm falls off right now.
She's got 8 straight points for them. Tied again at 54. Harris gives it up. Matharu on the drive. Make it 10 in a row.
Harris loses the ball out of bounds. She was out of control. Look at Matharu. Plenty of time. Seeing a big basket. A 10-0 run for the smallest player on the floor.
My own mother, in her last few months, had Alzheimer's. This is something that affects so many people. It's not just about the person that's ill or sick. It affects all their family, their friends. That's why I back Pat.
We Back Pat is a week-long SEC initiative focused on honoring Coach Summitt and bringing awareness and recognition to the Pat Summitt Foundation. The Pat Summitt Alzheimer's Clinic at the University of Tennessee Medical Center is now open. For more information, go to patsummit.org. As you can imagine, with Coach Summitt, Debbie, it has been very difficult to limit it to a week and limit it to the Southeast. Coaches all over the country love to get involved over the course of the middle to late January for Coach Summitt, the all-time wins leader with the 8 national championships at Tennessee before she was taken much too soon. Still, her legacy, her legend, great ambassadors of the game.
We miss her.
Jackson on the drive for the land. We touched upon it earlier. She loved moments like this, situations like this, right? Big ball games where players are coming through. They're both around 50% shooting. The turnovers have been minimal, and they are playing aggressive and passionate. Beal with the layup.
Boy, a great backdoor, but a poor job on the weak side defensively. Where was Mississippi State at the help line? Especially with that play starting so far out on the floor. But yes, Pat was the ultimate competitor. Just to button up your point.
Matharu on the drive. Boston had the rebound knocked loose. How about the play of Aaliyah Matharu? 3 minutes off the bench, 10 points for Mississippi State to spark them.
I mean, that's what you call the definition of efficiency. 3 minutes.
5-star recruit out of D.C. Don't forget NBA Wednesday coming your way with a good doubleheader and highlighted by the debut of Zion Williamson for the Pelicans in the late game as they host the Spurs. All that available on ESPN and your ESPN app.
They run a clear out for Kiki Herbert Harrigan against Chloe Bibby. And that's just Aaliyah Boston wanting the ball more Then Morris on the inside. You can't have inside position and give up that offensive rebound.
Carter's been limited due to foul trouble. They've had to go deep in their bench. Boston making them pay. Matharu swatted by Beal. No reset on the shot clock. Matharu, look at her get right back in there, missed it. And it comes out to the Gamecocks.
It's the first time South Carolina playing without Ty Harris on the floor.
Cook
Got it. And you can give Harris a few minutes because Cook can do that. The straight line drives for South Carolina against Mississippi State in transition are not going to look pretty on film tomorrow.
Bibby, that's a big one for her confidence. Last few weeks, scoring has been down, or shooting numbers have been down. Henderson. Bibby jumping into the passing lane. Chloe with the steal. She'll try it all the way, and Kiki blocked it, and Matharu took it away.
You didn't have numbers. You probably should have pulled it out. It's a big break for Mississippi State to maintain possession.
Would love to see Bibby find a guard and then set up on the three-point line. The drive there, no good.
See, that's a smart decision by Jackson. Because on the scramble by South Carolina, Destiny Henderson ends up defending. And she picks up her third, a smaller guard. Or excuse me, Boston picks up her third. Trying to help.
With 1:07 to go, looks like Aaliyah, well, thought she might stay. Now they're getting Saxton up off the bench.
I would go right to Boston here while she's still on the floor for an offensive possession. And she's pointing where she wants the ball to go.
Herbert Harrigan short.
I mean, she's...
Now let's see, is Vic going to try and attack her to get the fourth?
You have to attack her.
South Carolina could not get her out of the game. Mingo Young in for the lay-in.
Boston 7 for 9. Well, she's in for an offensive possession.
Henderson, count the basket.
Neither team is doing a very good job of defending dribble penetration.
It's going to be the third on Mingo Young.
What an incredible balance by Destiny Henderson to finish that play. Protect the ball with her body and still get it up on the rim through contact.
Boston will check out. You know, as much as you'd love to see him set up something for Boston, there, the dribble penetration has just been so good. Don't bother waiting.
Well, actually, Boston was a little fatigued.
Yes,
you
she
can see
was.
she's there on the bench, taking a deep breath. It's hard for big girls to keep running up and down without a stoppage. See, South Carolina, it looks like they're showing some zone here.
About a 4-second differential. Schaefer conducting traffic. Danbury, the pull-up over Harrigan, short. Mingo Young, count it.
I think they got to look at it.
They're going to take a look at it.
It's really close.
2.3 on the game clock, but the concern here, I think, is going to be the shot clock because there was about a 4-second differential.
Well, you can look at two things while you're over there. Does it count? See, one on the shot clock, it's still
No.
in her hand, so no. So then you got to put more time on the clock, so it's got to go back to probably 3.9, 3.8. That gives South Carolina a time to run a play.
Let's see. Let's go back two guys and check. Did that first shot hit the rim? So should there have been a reset? Let's see if Danbury's ball hits the rim. Yes, it does. So that should have been a reset. They haven't counted the basket yet on the scoreboard.
It does count.
And now they will.
Good call. Good catch, Beth. And Cameron Inouye just came over and said, basket good.
So let's see, it should be 65, correct?
Yes, that's
yes.
correct.
Yep, there we go. And now it will stay at 2.3 seconds here for Carolina to give it a heave. Mingo Young will have a chance. Count it if it goes. What a huge 5-point swing that could have been. 4 ties, 5 lead changes in the third, and it's a 3-point game to the fourth. Well, what a treat tonight here in Columbia, South Carolina. 65-62 for first place in the Southeastern Conference. And the two schools that have won the title 6 years running. One or the other has been the best in the league. It's a lot on the line, 10 minutes to go, and another block on the drive.
Wow, what a play by Saxton. She's slow to get up.
Landed funny, may have tweaked the leg on the landing. Danbury gets into the paint and lays it up and in. That's been the story for State. Dribble, drive, and score.
Vance Wahlberg's got to be loving what he's watching out of Vic Schaefer. Vance Wahlberg is the designer of the dribble drive. Coach Schaefer one time drove to Atlanta to spend about 5 hours with him to learn it so he could teach it to his team.
46 points in the paint, the most that Carolina has given up all season. Biggest lead now for the Bulldogs.
If you let players get to their right hand, with their dominant hand, the offense is winning.
Boston missed in close. Terrific job by Mingo Young and Matharu. This Mississippi State bench has scored 30 points tonight, picking up the slack. Danbury again off the bounce. Same play, same result.
What great patience by Mississippi State. You have an inexperienced team. They showed some offensive maturity on that possession, and right now in this game, every possession has a greater level of urgency on it.
Timeout, South Carolina. Again, the first time those two will meet since 2007. As you check out our game summary, both of them have to come down here, by the way. Tennessee is here February 2nd on ESPN2. UConn will be in the house February 10th on ESPN2. Quite possible they could set new attendance figures for either one or both of those.
Be excited to get that rivalry going again.
Cook fades, comes up short. Last touched by Aaliyah Boston.
You know, during that timeout, South Carolina was out of their huddle early, and they all stood in those positions. Well, Mississippi State came out ready to play D. You see Coach Staley a little frustrated with that lack of execution by her team.
Mingo Young tried to find Carter, who has just checked back into the lineup, limited all night with foul problems. Has only played 16 minutes. Their 6'5" center. Danbury, it's been all off the bounce, and a foul will get Carter to the line.
Great job of Carter sliding into her vision, getting position on the weak side. Danbury going left is looking to pass. Carter does a good job of stepping in there, and that's not a bad foul by Kiki Herbert-Harrigan. You got to make them earn it at the free throw line.
Well, and will this be a problem area for Mississippi State? They are under 50% from the line in their last 2 games. It cost them dearly in their loss to West Virginia middle of the year.
So that's a big question for Vic Schaefer. Who's the closer at the free throw line in a late game situation?
So far tonight, Debbie, 10 for 12. As they continue to enjoy their biggest lead of the night, they get a takeaway inside. Bibby just inside the line, air ball.
Not a good shot, and here's the transition opportunity. Ty Harris with a decision to pull up there. The dribble drive's been working. You don't need a quick shot. And Danbury right away comes over to Bibby and says, it's okay, next play, next play. That's what a senior does. That's what a leader does.
Jackson slipped and lost her footing and called for the walk. Boy, what a treat to watch these two, Schaefer and Staley, working their magic. The adjustments on the sideline, neither wants to give this one up.
Look, this crowd is going to be a factor before this game is over with, to give this team some energy. They usually do.
Boston, wide open, Kiki underneath.
South Carolina needs to just get a couple of stops in a row here. Can they get 3 in a row? Something that Pat Summitt would say. 3 stops, 3 scores.
Mingo Young deflected. There's another stop. They've got numbers. Harris on the run. Missed
Oh my
it.
goodness, what a foul. No call? Wow.
Just possession here for South Carolina.
She got clobbered. I was just thinking foul her hard so she doesn't get it up on the glass. Make her earn it at the line. That's the way this game's going to go the rest of the way. And there's a call right there on Danbury.
Second on Danbury. Each side with the one-team foul here in the fourth. Boston backing in on Carter, creating space for the layup.
See, now in the guys' game, they have the flopping call.
Down to a 5-point ball game. Danbury, and the block will be called on Cook.
Now, does Cook lower her shoulder? Does Carter absorb the contact, or does she flop? Let's watch it from this angle. See, I think that's a good no call because I think that's a flop.
Mingo Young drains it.
The cushion that you have to give the guards for Mississippi State at this point in the game. You got to force them to hit 15-footers.
Tremendous contributions off the bench tonight for State.
And Beth, and South Carolina is such a good shot blocking team, yet Mississippi State having no problem getting to the rim.
Harris drops it off for Boston. 18 now for Aaliyah. 7th assist for Ty. Danbury. Boston now with a double-double, her 10th board, and Danbury commits the foul.
What a move, though. The floater in the lane. Jordan Danbury has pretty much been able to get whatever she wants tonight offensively. She has been impressive.
Her 3rd foul. Over 10,000 strong, itching to get off their feet here in Columbia.
How good has the guard play been tonight?
Beal, the spin, short, offensive rebound, and a block. Boston cleans it up and one. Fourth foul on Jessica Carter.
Tough shot by Beal. Great effort by Cook. Great hands by Boston to finish it at the rim for an and one.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile. Switch now and get unlimited gigs for the whole family. The switch that gives you more. South Carolina led by as many as a dozen. Mississippi State grabbed the lead. They went up 9 in the second half. And we've got a 3-point game, under 5 to go for first place in the SEC and a big leg up in the race for the regular season championship. Aaliyah Boston will be at the line, a double-double again. Just a freshman, folks. 20 points, 11 rebounds on 10 of 13 shooting.
Her first free throws of the game.
Seven straight points for South Carolina's rookie big. Mingo Young, the kick out, Bibby. Can't dial it in.
Got a great look, too.
Cook comes out with it. Off the cross, bump, got it!
Wow. Numbers, the cross, the bump, the kiss, the bucket.
And the fourth foul on Danbury to boot. And Carolina's back on top. Danbury into the lane, hangs and hits.
Quick.
What a response.
You knew the FAMs. The fans is what Dawn Staley calls them, the FAMs, F-A-M, family. She told us today she knew that she needed to have this kind of atmosphere to build the kind of championship program that she wanted. And you just keep running Cook's number right here. How about that freshman?
She's got 13. Mingo Young bothered on the shot and got it anyways. Timeout, Bulldogs.
Wow. This is why you love it right here. Competing, challenged at the rim.
Freshmen at both ends, Debbie.
Look at this play by Danbury. Tough. Vic Schaefer told us today, do your job and stay in the moment. It's all off the bounce, all game for both clubs.
Terrific off the bench for Mississippi State. And remember what Dawn Staley talked about today in shoot-around. How would the freshmen respond in this environment? The seniors led them in the first half. The freshmen have scored 12 straight points for Carolina here in the fourth quarter.
#1 recruiting class. When I came to watch them play in October, my thought was, I hope they're as good as the hype. And they certainly have been that good. They are terrific. And their blend of upperclassmen with experience and the skill set of the freshmen has been impressive all season for Dawn Staley.
And this great rivalry continues for Mississippi State. What a signature win this could be on their resume. We got some men's basketball coming up later on ESPN. #1 Baylor taking on Oklahoma as the Bears ascend to the top spot in the men's AP poll. South Carolina had its way for a few years. Then Mississippi State taking over the last couple of seasons in the SEC. On a We Back Pat game, it was really the descent of Tennessee that opened up the door for these two programs, and they have stepped into the void.
And Dawn Staley says her team's playing zone. Vic Schaefer just changed it to get back into man. So they're staying in the zone.
Herbert Harrigan, tough shot on the drive. Long rebound to Mingo Young. She will push. Going up against Harris. Got it to go.
Such incredible toughness and the shot-making ability by both teams.
14 points all in the second half.
Cook in the corner.
Gets the shot up, no. Danbury has it. 3 minutes to play.
They like to get Chloe Bibby into the corner on their dribble drive action. They don't really like her handling the ball, and that's the reason why.
Harris with the pick and the finish. Timeout, South Carolina.
All game, Chloe Bibby on the floor has been in the corner, not involved in the dribble drive at the top of the floor. Harris with a clean pick. It's a great defensive play by the senior.
.30-second break right here. 79-78 Mississippi State. 2:44 to go. And a great start to our big Mondays on the women's side. Don't forget SportsCenter coming up tonight with Kenny Mayne and John Anderson. They'll break down the Lakers Celtics. Preview Zion, set to make his debut on Wednesday night. And all the Super Bowl hype now underway with the Chiefs and the Niners getting set to head to Miami. It's on SportsCenter after Big 12 Hoops on ESPN. Carter returns to the floor for Mississippi State with the 4 fouls.
I would not let Danbury get the ball back here.
She does. She plays with 4 fouls as well. Drops it off for Carter. Short corner, no. Beal weak side.
Down 1. Who do you trust here?
Harris.
That's who you trust.
Got it.
That's who you go to. Good read.
22 for Ty tonight. Danbury's got it again, looking to create. Jackson.
Nobody on the glass.
1:30 to go. Ball on the 1-point lead for Carolina.
If I'm Ty Harris, I'm not giving it up here. I'm going to take the clock down. Here comes a ball screen. Keep it.
Boston blocked by Carter. Danbury comes out with Harrigan protecting and affects the shot.
I don't know why Danbury did that. Either pull it out or take it all the way to the rim. Don't pull up for a mid-range. Great defensive effort by Kiki Herbert Harrigan.
Final minute here in Columbia.
Same thing. Keep it in Harris's hand. It's going to be a late ball screen.
Two-man game with Boston. She'll pull up. No. Beal tips it. Mississippi State has it. And Vic Schaefer applied the brakes and called the timeout.
He did not trust that Mingo Young was going to hold up. She looked like she was going to the bucket.
Running the stop sign, so Vic took matters into his own hands. What a game tonight here in Columbia. South Carolina, second week at #1, and a 1-point lead over Mississippi State. And as we check the clock here courtside, 33 seconds to go, 27 on the shot clock. Who do you like here to have the ball in their hands for State?
About a 6-second differential, so you just keep running the dribble drive. But if I'm South Carolina, I'm not letting Jordan Danbury get the ball back when she gives it up. I want to make somebody else beat you with a shot here, but you got to have time to get it on the glass, get to the glass. And keep in mind now, Mississippi State on the next foul will put South Carolina to the line, but South Carolina still has 2 fouls to give. Ty Harris on Danbury.
Danbury gets by a defender, tried to drop it off to Carter, knocked out of bounds, and it will stay this way. They have beaten #1 once in their history, and that was the Morgan William buzzer beater at the Final Four in 2017.
Well, they're gonna
and
take
they
a
may
look.
have a chance here late to win it again over #1 South Carolina.
It hits off Carter, but does it hit off of Boston, the backside of Boston? That's what the officials have to go to the monitor to review.
That certainly looked like Carter was the last one to touch.
I don't know why Danbury didn't pull up and shoot that. Maybe because she missed the last one. And the way the ball rotates,
Did it get her
it
foot?
makes it look like it hit Boston.
Does it hit Boston's foot? The call is to stay with Mississippi State, so they have to see evidence to overturn it if they're going to give it to Carolina here. See if another angle here. Danbury gives up the shot.
She's got the jumper right there in the logo. This is a tough one.
That angle did not appear to be near Boston's foot.
They're going to keep it Mississippi State's ball. Now Dawn Staley does. You want to play good defense right here. You don't want to give up a layup, Beth.
They're going to keep it with Mississippi State's 6-second differential, shot clock and game clock.
This is why situations are so important here. Danbury's going to inbound it for Mississippi State. You got to screen hard. You got to switch on everything if you're South Carolina.
Danbury's got it again. The spin into the lane. No good. Rebound, Boston.
You got a foul or timeout. South Carolina gets the timeout. Mississippi State was looking to foul. They were confused.
They will choose to advance the ball. And a 1-point lead with possession for Carolina.
What a tough shot. Look at the white jerseys converge on Danbury. And Boston gets a big-time rebound.
21 points, 12 boards for Boston. Bothered the shot right there. Mississippi State 4 fouls in the quarter, so the next foul would put Carolina on the line. Remember, in women's hoops, no 1-and-1, it would be 2.
So I am not letting Ty Harris, well, she's going to inbound the ball. I was going to say I wouldn't let her catch it. But she's going to inbound it. And you're going to have to go, you're going to have to foul right away. Now Morris is going to get on Harris, so she takes away some vision. You got to deny hard, and you got to switch on everything.
Beal would be the weakest of the free throw shooters. You got to hustle to get this ball in. Boston to Harris, a foul at midcourt, and Danbury has fouled out with 8 seconds to go, and now Ty will head to the line.
This is a tremendous defensive job right here. The ball wasn't touched. You're still supposed to count.
Don't believe there was an over and back situation
no
right
possession
there with Boston.
No, there was no possession there. You can inbound it into the backcourt.
So Harris misses the first.
You do not let
Mississippi State can rebound and
Mingo
advance.
Young, Beth. You do not let Mingo Young. You try to deny her the basketball, make someone else handle. And you got to drive it hard if you're Mississippi State. Vic Schaefer has 1 timeout left.
The officials have gone. Tana Napier has gone over to the scorer's table.
What's interesting here is if I'm Vic Schaefer, I'm not sure I'm going to use my timeout to advance the ball here. And here's
Just let
why.
him go?
You want to leave the floor open.
Yep.
You want to open up the court. Yeah, there's no possession here. There's no over and back.
The foul actually happened around 9.8 seconds, and then it continued to run. Terrific pickup by the officials here.
Interesting that they picked it up after Ty Harris took a free throw.
If that is the case.
It's a correctable error inside the window, so you can go back and look at it. And Harris does have 1 more free throw remaining.
Starts there on the touch and should end right there is when the whistle is blown. It actually stopped momentarily at 9.8 and then started to run again.
The other thing too, I'm just going to say this because I'm watching it and I'm thinking, You're supposed to count the 5-second count until the ball is touched. That pass, there was a lot of time that went there. There might have been a 5-second call as well. You can't go back and review that.
Best case for Carolina, she makes this, it's still a 2-point game.
See, Cook is going to be right on top of Mingo Young, making sure she doesn't catch the inbound pass here.
Only 2 team fouls, by the way, for South Carolina as Harris hits it.
So Vic Schaefer is going to use his final timeout to advance the ball. Atharu is going to get back in the game. She was terrific in the second half.
They have been good off the bounce all night long. 48 points in the paint. For first place in the SEC. They have been the dominant forces in the league the last handful of years. And in the big showdowns, they have gone to Carolina, including 3 SEC tournament finals and the national championship game in 2017. But it is the Bulldogs who are the back-to-back reigning regular season titleists. And they also added the tournament crown last year.
Well, if you're Dawn Staley, you're switching on everything, and you are making sure you don't give up a layup. Okay, they do have fouls to give. I'm wondering if Dawn Staley would choose to use some here, just to try to take some time down. But it's something that you have to practice so your players understand how to foul.
They would have the 2 to work with.
There's 1. I like it.
Yep, and it cost them 1.8 seconds.
You can foul 1 more time. You got to be strong with the ball here if you're Mississippi State. I would try to make a direct pass. See, now with the ball, the foul occurring below the free throw line, now you got to be careful about fouling.
And the inbounds is intercepted. Zia Cook with the pick. And she will run out the clock, and South Carolina wins it. 81-79 the final, and the freshman comes up huge late.
This is a pass going away from the ball. You got to cut hard to the ball. Big play by Cook, who dribbles out the clock, and a 2-point victory for the Gamecocks.
And Cook able to finish it out. 81-79 the final. And perhaps not the only time